my daughters and I could really use some help. And it's hard to believe that this is what my life has become, but it is what it is. When Prince said I was dreaming when I wrote this, I every day I wake up and I wish that my life was just a dream I was having and that it wasn't real. So back in 1996, we found out that my sister had cancer. She was young and beautiful and vibrant, and I'll show some pictures of her in the comment sections. But she was beautiful, and she was misdiagnosed ever since she was a kid. At the time of diagnosis, she was given 5 months to live. She lived longer than 5 months. She lived about a year, but the loss of her became kind of like the benchmark for pain in my life. I thought that was just the absolute worst pain that I would ever experience in life. Around that time, I was also diagnosed myself with a form of infertility called polycystic ovary syndrome. And I never really expected to have kids. But fast forward into my 30s, I was 34 years old. I was able to get pregnant. I had a miscarriage, and then I got pregnant again, and I found out I was carrying twins, and was like, wow, this is crazy. And much to my amazement, I at 35 gave birth to a beautiful baby boy and baby girl, Azaria and Jelani, and life seemed to be going all right. We continue to live and to grow, and they were the loves of my life. When they were about 8, they were really insistent about wanting to have a sibling, and I thought that all of that was behind me. But long story short, I got into a new relationship, and my partner at that time also wanted another kid. So I decided, I'll give it a shot. And again, I had a miscarriage, and then I found out I was carrying twins again. So at 47 years old, I delivered a healthy set of twins, two little girls, and life seemed to be going good for us, and I was very happy. And then I lost my job, and then I found a job right away, so I went into the other job, and it wasn't a really good fit. So in less than a year, I was out of work, and I was having trouble finding work, which hasn't really been part of my career. But anyway, I'm like, you know what? I'll just enjoy this last summer before my older twins go into high school, because they're gonna be leaving and starting their adult lives pretty soon. So we'll enjoy this summer together. On the first day of school of their freshman year, we found out that my son Jelani had cancer, and they told me that he needed immediate removal of his kidney. And we did remove that kidney, and I was hopeful that he was going to be okay. But about a month later, they finished their biopsy, and they told us that Jelani had renal medullary carcinoma, or RMC for short, which is the most deadly form of kidney cancer. At that time, we were told he had about a 3% chance of making it. But we prayed, and we went through chemotherapy, and we tried our hardest. I took him to MD Anderson Cancer Clinic, where there's the only RMC specialist team in the world. But in May, Jelani passed. And I found out that there was a whole lot more pain than what I thought I would ever experience. And the blows just haven't stopped coming. I've always worked, and I've always tried to provide a good living for my kids, but right now life is just really, really, really hard. And I've exhausted my life savings just trying to keep us afloat. My older daughter is not doing very well without her twin. And depending on who you ask, I'm not doing very well myself. I don't know if there is an ideal way to lose your kid. I hope I never have to experience it again. But I have tried to get us back on our feet. I know this is going to sound like really, really, really crazy, but I decided that the best thing for me to do would be to start doing some consulting. I was referred to a company by some prior associates that I had done business with for about 13 or 15 years. And so I didn't, unfortunately, vet this new company very well. And I was working under what's called like a net 30 agreement, where basically after you finish your work, you invoice the client and they have 30 days to pay. So I worked for, I don't know, a little bit over a month, and I invoiced the client. And like I said, he had 30 days to pay. So I continued to work, and I was like really excited because he was giving me additional work. And then the 30 days were up, and much to my shock, he refused to pay my invoice. So by that time, I had worked for him for about 2 months, and you wouldn't think that someone could be so cruel knowing my circumstances, but he hasn't paid me a dime, and it has caused absolute financial catastrophe for for me and my girls. And I'm at the point where things will be getting things will be getting cut off. And you know, I just thought that things were gonna be getting better, and they're not getting better. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, like I said, my older daughter hasn't been doing very well, and she just would rather not be not be in this world with us. She really wants to be with her brother. So we had an incident where I needed to call for help, which I did do. I called for help. I called 911. I begged them to, send someone who was skilled in dealing with crisis prevention or intervention, whatever the right terminology is. And I explained the entire situation. I explained how my daughter has been grieving about losing her twin, and that we really needed someone with the right sensitivities to come. And much to my shock and horror, within 5 minutes of the local police arriving here, they had a gun drawn on my daughter, and a beam on her, threatening to kill her. That was about 2 weeks ago. I've continued to look for work. Been a proposal manager and business development person for about 25 years. So if anybody out there has some contract work in that area, I would certainly appreciate getting back to work. My company is called the Ashanti Group. I'm registered in sam.gov and have traditionally done federal contracting work. In the meantime, my mom has set up a GoFundMe page for us. So if people can donate, that would be just so incredibly helpful and appreciated. Anyone who can't donate, that's perfectly understandable given where I'm at right now. So if you could just share and encourage others to do the same, that would be so appreciated as well. I'm just hoping that this nightmare, this free fall, is over pretty soon, because it's been pretty bad. So keep sending words of encouragement for those who've already helped us in so many ways. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for all of the kindnesses, and hopefully things really will be getting better for us pretty soon.